All right, everyone, part two. So, ran out of a little bit of time, had to restart, but that's okay. So, we only have a couple more slides. First one is factor by removing the greatest common factor, okay, or the greatest common multiple. What I do is I look at all my pieces here and I ask myself, what can I pull out? I like to start with my coefficients, so my numbers. So my smallest number is 8. So I ask myself, can I pull 8 out of 24 and 8 out of 16? Which is yes, it is a multiple of both 24 and 16. So I'm going to pull out an 8. Then I look at my variables and see what I can pull out. All of them have at least one m in common, and all of them have at least one n in common, which tells me I can pull out an 8mn. Once I know what I can pull out, I take each piece and I'm going to divide it into each piece I have. All right, so first round through, I bring down my 8mn and then I divide. 8 goes into 8 one whole times. M2 minus M1 is a single M. N3 minus a single N is N2. 8 goes into 24 three times. M2 minus M is a single M. N2 minus N is a single N. 8 divided by negative 16 is a negative 2. My m's cancel, my n's cancel. When I write my final answer, I would write it just like this. So I have what I pulled out, what I factored, which is an 8mn, multiplied by the leftovers. Now, in this case, before it was just factor greatest common factor, so I just had to figure out what I was going to pull out. This one is factor completely. The process starts the same way. If I have anything I can pull out of all three evenly, I need to do that first. In this case, they all have a 3 in common, but they don't have an x, which means I'm going to divide every piece by 3, which is what I did on the previous slide. When I divide every piece by 3, 3 goes into 3 one whole times. I have an x squared left over. 3 goes into negative 21, negative 7 times. Again, I have an x left over. 3 goes into 36, 12 times. Now, if I was factoring greatest common factor, I'd be done at this point. Because I'm not, it's asking me just to factor it. I have to turn this trinomial into two binomials. Okay, so I still bring down my 3. I know I'm going to have two binomials because I have an x squared. That's x times x. So in FOIL, my firsts are whatever my first two positions are. I need to find products of C that give me the sum of B. Because I have a positive in the back, that tells me that both of my binomials are going to be negative because that's what's in the front. So I have two negative numbers. I did the math for you, but you're looking for things that multiply to give you 12. So you can have 12 times 1, 6 times 2, 4 times 3. Okay, so all those things that equal 12, but your goal is to find the ones that have the sum, so when added together, give you negative 7, negative 4 plus negative 3 do give me negative 7. So my final answer would be bring down that 3, what you factored, and then your two binomials. This is factoring, where the other option that you would get is to get a problem like this, and it would tell you to multiply. So I would do FOIL here, which would give me back to this point. Then I would distribute the 3, which would give me to this point. All factoring is doing is helping you work with smaller numbers here. Okay. Mean, median, mode, and range. We just did these, so hopefully they're familiar. A big mistake I saw in the test is on range, a lot of people showed me how to do it, but they didn't actually solve it. So when you're solving for range, it's the highest number minus the lowest number you have. You actually need to solve it. So 50 minus 17 in this case is 33. Okay. For the others, it's really a smart idea to put your numbers from least to greatest. It just helps you pick things out. I have this on here a couple times, so bear with me. The next one is mean. So mean we've done, it's a sum of the numbers you have over the total numbers there. So I added all of these pieces together to give me 331, and then I counted how many are there, which are 10. 331 divided by 10 is the 33.1, and that's it. That's my average. That's my mean. Median, you have to put them in smallest to greatest. Once you put them in smallest to greatest, you cancel out from the bottom to the top until you're down to the middle. Either you're going to have 2 left over for an even number of data set, or you're going to have 1 left over if you have an odd number. In this case, since we have 10, which we determined up here, when I cancel them out from lowest to greatest until I'm to the middle, I have 2 left over. And now I can't just put 33 and 35. That's not my median, that's not my middle. Those of you shortcut version, if you ever have this, your middle number is going to be whatever's number in between there. But basically, find the mean again. So I added up 33 plus 35, which is a 68. I cut it in half. My answer is 34. The last one is just a definition. So mode is the number that occurs the most. That's for this one, again, it's really beneficial to put them from least to greatest because then you can see if you have any repeating numbers. In this case, 17 is the only repeating number. Everything else only occurs once. So my mode, my number that occurs the most, is 17. Probability. So many of you did really great on probability. There weren't a whole lot of issues on the chapter test, but with probability, basically all it is what you want over the total available possibilities, right? So in this scenario, it's the teacher's picking a student for an impromptu, and they want to know what's the chances of choosing a female. Well, we know we want a female, and there's 14 females, so we have 14, and the total available, 14 plus 13, is 27 in the class. With probability, again, you must simplify, so I have to ask myself, can 14 over 27 be simplified? In this case, the answer is no, so that's my final answer. So that means they have a 14 out of 27 chance to draw a female out of the entire class. Last one, this is the last equation you have to memorize, is midpoint. So midpoint's always a capital M. All it is in this case is you're finding the average of 2 points. You're finding the mean. Okay, so the midpoint is the mean, it's the middle. So I take my equations. The biggest mistake I saw is I saw people subtract here, like they were trying to find the slope. We're not trying to find the slope, we're trying to find the mean. So with it, you add. So I take the 2 points given, I add my x's, so 5 plus negative 7. I add my y's, negative 9 plus 19. And I divide by 2 because I have 2 options in each. When I'm done, I'll have an ordered pair. That means that between the point 5, negative 9 and negative 7, 19, negative 1, 5 is the exact middle or midpoint of those. I hope this was beneficial. If you have any questions, please email me. Our final will be on Saturday the 11th. So this Saturday, if you are not taking it in person, make sure you make an appointment. You have until the 15th. And after the 15th, you will not be allowed to take the final. So be prepared and get ready to go. Good luck.